Before diving into this incredible story, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, every story has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. The supermarket was packed that morning. Hurried customers, crowded checkouts, and in the middle of it all, Aisha, an elegant black woman, calmly leafed through her shopping list. She had just bought a few items when suddenly, a tall, authoritarian white security guard approached her with an accusing look. "Madam, I'm going to have to check your bag. I've been informed of a theft in your department." Everyone turns around. Silence falls. All eyes are on Aisha. She remains dignified, though humiliated. "Theft? I didn't steal anything, sir. Look at my receipts." But the police officer, Markson, who had just arrived to lend a hand, decided to intervene arrogantly. He almost snatched the bag from Aisha's hands, emptying it on the ground, in front of dozens of witnesses. "It's always the same with you. Do you think we can't see you?" A customer lets out a contemptuous laugh. Others film the scene. Aisha, her eyes shining, clenches her fists but remains silent. Suddenly, the manager's voice rang out behind them. "Officer, you've just humiliated the wrong person. That woman, she's the new owner of the chain." A shiver ran through the crowd. Officer Markson paled. He tried to apologize, but it was too late. The security cameras had recorded everything. 5 minutes later, his direct superior enters the store, furious after seeing the viral video. "Markson, surrender your badge. You are suspended immediately." Aisha looks at him calmly, then adds in a firm voice. "Sometimes, justice doesn't take years to act, sometimes, it strikes in 5 minutes." The atmosphere in the supermarket had become electric. Customers had formed a circle around Aisha and Officer Markson. Whispers flew, phones were filming, and the tension was palpable. Markson, convinced he was doing his duty, didn't see Aisha's humiliated look. He had become accustomed to these situations, to these easy suspicions. "Did you think we wouldn't see you slip that piece of jewelry into your bag?" he said, brandishing a small gold bracelet. Aisha looked at him without moving. "This bracelet, it's mine. I bought it 2 years ago in New York." But he wasn't listening. He was smiling, certain of his superiority. The stifled laughter of a few customers amplified the shame. An elderly black woman in the queue shook her head sadly. "Always the same story," she murmured. Then suddenly, the store manager came running up, accompanied by 2 security guards. "Officer Markson. What are you doing?" "My job." "This woman is suspicious," he replied, confidently. The manager turned pale. "Suspicious? You've just humiliated the chairwoman of our board of directors, sir. Ms. Aisha Johnson, the new owner of the group." An icy silence fell over the room. Markson's face turned livid. He stammered, unable to find his words. I didn't know." Aisha bent down to calmly gather her belongings, then stared at him with an expression that was a mixture of calm and pain. "The problem, officer, is that you never try to find out. You judge before you understand." The customers applauded softly. The cameras kept rolling. A few minutes later, a police car parked at the entrance. Chief Markson entered, furious. "Markson, to my office immediately. And surrender your badge. Immediate suspension for discriminatory conduct." He held out his plaque with trembling hands. Aisha looked at him one last time. "I hope that one day you will learn what respect is." Markson left the store to jeers, while Aisha, upright and dignified, continued on her way. And on that day, everyone understood that karma doesn't always wait until the end of the story to strike. A few hours after the incident, the scene filmed by customers had already spread across the internet. On TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, the video titled "A Police Officer Humiliates a Black Woman," without knowing who she is, reached over 1 million views. The comments exploded. "Instant karma, I love it. She remained so calm. What class? This police officer deserves to never wear a uniform again. Meanwhile, Markson, sitting in his company car, stared at his phone, pale. Each notification was a brutal reminder of his humiliation. His full name was circulating everywhere. He was already being called the racist policeman at the supermarket. At the police station, his colleagues avoided his gaze. The chief, a man of experience, summoned him to his office. "Markson, I warned you 100 times to calm down. You crossed the line. This time, it's over. Il signa sa suspension immediate." Meanwhile, Aisha was receiving calls from journalists. But she refused all interviews. This is not a story of revenge. It is a lesson in humanity, she simply told her assistant. However, she decided to act differently. The next day, she published an official statement from the group she led. "We reiterate that the dignity of every customer must be respected. No color, no status, no prejudice justifies humiliation. We hope this incident will serve to open eyes to what far too many people still experience every day." The message spread throughout the country. Anti-discrimination organizations contacted Aisha to congratulate her. In the days that followed, Markson's name was removed from the police register. But it was only when he passed by the same supermarket a few weeks later, now adorned with a giant poster bearing the slogan, "Respect for All," that he truly understood. He lowered his eyes, ashamed, while Aisha, from her glass-walled office, watched him with a slight smile. Karma, she thought, is not a punishment. This is a lesson that life teaches to those who refuse to learn differently. A few weeks had passed since the incident. The scandal had died down, but Aisha hadn't forgotten anything. For her, this humiliation wasn't just a personal matter, it was a symbol of a bigger, deeper problem that too many people suffered in silence every day. She then decided to transform this wound into strength. One morning, during a press conference in a large hotel in the city, Aisha took to the stage dressed in a white suit. The camera started rolling, and the journalists took notes. "What happened to me could have happened to anyone. And as long as we turn a blind eye to prejudice, others will be humiliated as I was." A murmur of emotion rippled through the room. Then, she announced the creation of a national program. Respect and Justice, an initiative aimed at providing free training to security guards, police officers, and store employees on combating racial bias and discrimination. The project made headlines. Major companies joined forces. Schools, associations, and even police stations volunteered to participate. Meanwhile, Markson, now unemployed, happened to see an advertisement for the program on television. He stared at the screen for a long time, then sighed. What he saw was his mistake, transformed into something good. A few days later, he timidly knocked on the door of the training center. Aisha, surprised to see him, remained silent for a moment. "What brings you here, officer?" she asked. "To learn, ma'am. And to apologize, truly." She stared at him for a moment, then nodded. "So sit down. The lesson begins." On that day, in that room, yesterday's racist policeman became today's student of change. And Aisha understood that the greatest revenge was to transform shame into hope. A few months later, the whole city was talking about the Respect and Justice program. Newspapers praised the initiative, schools invited Aisha to speak, and even the mayor awarded her a Medal of Honor for exceptional social contribution. But on that day, Aisha didn't want to be on a stage. She sat at the back of a classroom, discreetly observing the last group of students who had come to complete the training. Among them, Markson. He had changed. His once hard eyes seemed more humble. When it was his turn to speak in front of the others, he stood up slowly and said in a hesitant voice, "I thought I was doing my job. But I forgot the foundation of that job, respecting people. That day, I judged without knowing. And I learned, the hard way, that a uniform doesn't make a man." The silence in the room was heavy with emotion. Aisha stood up, joined him, and placed a hand on his shoulder. Admitting one's mistakes is already a big step towards the light. Applause erupted. And for the first time, Markson smiled genuinely. Later, as she was leaving the room, Aisha looked up at the sky. She thought back to that humiliating day in the supermarket. The policeman's gaze, the laughter, the shame. But today, that pain no longer existed. It had been replaced by inner peace and a profound sense of accomplishment. She murmured to herself. Karma is not a punishment. It's a reminder. And sometimes, it teaches us that the most powerful justice is forgiveness. A light breeze made the flags in the center shiver. And as the sun set behind the city, Aisha realized that her mission had only just begun. Dizzy moral of the story. It is not the color of a skin that defines a person's worth, but the light in their heart. Humiliation can hurt, but dignity and forgiveness can transform the world.